A couple more stops to the finish line, people. We're here, the next installment in the second phase of the Fast and Furious movies. Fast and Furious 6. These titles keep getting more confusing, but the action is only going up a notch as far as I'm concerned. Chris, after that bombastic last installment, you even more excited for this one?
Dude, I'm ready to punch it right in the fifth gear and cruise to the finish line, man. Let's do this.
Let's go. So we were gonna just go right into the movie, but then we were talking, and we're like, look, we've watched a lot of Fast and Furious up to the point. We've seen 5 movies now. We're about to watch movie number 6, so we just needed a minute to like decompress as far as that goes. Like, Chris, kind of walk me through like your thoughts so far going into this one before we start.
Yeah, so I mean, as you guys who have been following this series along know, I was very hesitant going into this, but for those who are just tuning in now, I'll give you sort of like the gist of where I was at. I hate cars. I think they're important. They get me from point A to point B, but I've never been able to look at a car and be like, that's an awesome car. Like, that car is a really cool piece of machinery. I get it. I do the same. I'm a musician. I can look at a guitar and see things in it that some people can't. So I understand how people have that with cars, but I don't have that. So for me, it just never clicked. And so all I heard about these films were, they were like pretty much movies for those kids in high school who were like the broy dudes who were always in the gym stunting their growth too much. And I was like, okay, maybe that's not really my cup of tea. So I kind of avoided them. You know, we're obviously more of artistic guys, Dom and I, film school and the whole nine. And so we decided, hey, F9's coming out. If there was ever a time to do it, we're going to do this first time watch series, and I'm going to see all the movies for the first time. And something magical happened in that first viewing, man, because The Fast and Furious is a great movie. It is like, for all you can say wrong about it, it just has that spirit of old school Hollywood. It has what I love about action films of yesteryear, and it hooked me in a way that I never thought it would. And while there has been some, I'd say pit stops along the overall amazing journey that this rewatch series has taken me, so far, man, I'm enjoying every mile that we're putting on
Every
the
inch,
odometer. So.
Every mile, every last bit of gas staying on the road. Look, all I'm going to say is that we've now entered the phase of Fast and Furious movies that I recall fondly. Because like I said, Fast 5 was the first Fast and Furious movie I saw in theaters. I did not watch the first 4 in theaters. I watched them all concurrently after Fast 5. So Fast 5 was really my introduction to the franchise, right? It helped that it was also kind of like the reset point for the franchise. So now going forward, I've hit each of these subsequent movies that we're about to hit in theaters. Not only that, but I remember very, very vividly each and every one of these movies, seeing them in theaters, right? And this one that we're about to hit tonight, Fast and Furious 6, the story that I'll say is this is the second to last one that I saw with my family in theaters. And without giving anything away as far as my thoughts go, I still love each and every single one of these movies in their own way. But this to me is where the franchise takes it to another level as far as that goes, where I'll say that to me, the stunts start to overtake some of the awesome character work. And I know that sounds kind of counterproductive since we're talking about a Fast and Furious franchise, right? A franchise that has become largely known because of the ridiculous stunts and just like the complete disbelief in physics. But just to give you guys an idea of what I'm talking about, this is the first movie that I remember made me stand up in my seat in the middle of the theater and scream, "Oh, come on," at one very specific scene. This was the movie. This was the fucking movie. I remember the day, Memorial Day in May 2013. It's ironic that we're actually coming up on this date when we're like about to record. I remember this very, very vividly, scene at the Fishkill Regal Cinema. Scene of this movie that we're going to say literally made me stand up and say, come on, right? I'm still love this franchise, but like this was the tipping point for me. Like just to let the people into my head as far as my relationship with these movies going forward after Fast 5.
Yeah, that's hilarious, man. I can't wait, man. This is like, I at this point, all preconceived notions are out the window. I have a whole new sort of way of viewing these types of movies, and I think honestly,
you're looking at it in your rear view.
Yeah, I'm looking at the old me in the rear view because I was gonna say, like, this was not only so great for me as a film fan, but as a critic to sort of realize, like, maybe you could, even as someone who is open-minded, give more things the benefit of the doubt. And so I never thought I'd have such a a philosophical outcome from watching this, and it's not from the movies themselves, it's from my approach, but still, these movies are the reasons I hit that point. So overall, it's been enjoyable. I've heard murky, rocky things about where we're heading, but I'm staying positive. So
Murky and rocky, don't you mean it's going to be like a little bit of a bumpy road going for? I'm really trying hard with these car puns. I got to stop tonight. So without further ado, here is Fast and Furious 6. Ooh. Got that new Universal logo.
The song kind of sucks, bro.
Come on. Don't ruin my memories. I don't even care if the song's that good or not. So this fun. Pretty sure this is the last time that Vin Diesel and The Rock can actually be on screen together for more than like 10 seconds at a time. Yep.
Wow, superpowers.
Good to know just how much The Rock still respects like foreign relations and like basic human rights. Oh, he's still trying to flex just like every chance he's on the same screen as Diesel. Love what his plane says. Wow.
It's Roman.
Not just it's Roman. It's
so
Roman,
funny.
bitches. At least they called out how much fucking oil The Rock puts on himself.
We getting paid, right?
Always about the money. I love it. He's hilarious, dude.
What does that mean, turning it over? Why is it the gearheads always say that? Can't you just say turn it on? I love how he timed it to crumble like right as he was driving out, you know, for dramatic effect. And the car's bulletproof. Whee!
Yeah, okay.
He's The Rock. He's superhuman.
He landed like a superhero. Damn.
But again, Vin Diesel's
hell?
Vin Diesel's bulletproof, so it doesn't matter. This is when the Vin Diesel super close-up mumble growl got really, really hardcore. Sort of like
interesting. I like that angle. I like that angle a lot.
This is literally like the Crime Syndicate. They're literally like evil versions of the Fast and Furious gang.
I'm sitting there looking at these images. It's like we're hunting our evil twins.
God damn it! Come on! Motherfucker! By the way, in case you hadn't figured out, the Asian crew member of Shaw's crew, that's Sub-Zero from Mortal Kombat. He's like giving like an Oscar caliber, like Shakespearean performance in the middle of a Fast and Furious movie. For a reason, there was a.
Now we're in a music video.
Oh man, yeah. No, sorry, we got to get back to the franchise quota.
The car's sideways,
dude. What is this? I got a sniper. Everybody's got snipers. Just when all of fucking Vin Diesel's lines just became like high school yearbook quotes.
There's a lot of cars.
Of course. What? It's just common sense. What is the action sequence that's gonna let them use the most cars? A convoy. I have that, motherfucker.
There's a tank in a Fast and the Furious movie.
Oh yeah.
What the actual hell is going on right now?
Engine yourself.
Dom literally just had the same reaction I did. Like, there's a tank in the Fast and Furious? It's all right. You know what? Now I know. Next time, all I need is some good old American muscle when there's a tank.
That you can solve any problem that way. Hits it. Doesn't have. Wait. Here we go. Boom.
Yeah, okay.
I'm out. What the fuck?
That one hit, she got her memories back.
Oh, no, wait, you forgot. You forgot. He cracked the windshield. World's longest runway.
If I can heat that flap, we can keep it from taking off.
No, you can't. That's not how. What?
Damn.
I mean, what a way to go out, but, oh, that's that Warner Brothers coming in and scooping her, being like, oh, shit. There he is. This is still the only part that's, like, kind of a little bit weird. They traded up the Canary Islands for L.A.? Oh, yo, I love that the PSA. I love how they have the PSA here.
You don't know me. You're about to.
Now you know what I mean as far as wait. Tokyo Drift's placement in this franchise will make sense. Tokyo Drift takes place after this movie that we just watched, 6, which makes no sense as far as chronology goes. It's how the fuck are they have 2006 technology and what's supposed to be 2013 or 14 or wherever Tokyo Drift actually takes place. But still, like, just in that moment, like, for that reveal there, that's how you know this franchise has come full circle. Even though this movie was the jump in the shark moment. So, that was our first time watching reaction to Fast and Furious 6. Chris, your thoughts?
Yeah, man, I think it's pretty easy to say that some of the, I guess, not so fondly looked at parts of the franchise are starting to show their head. Some of the things that I've heard, you know, you and David and Joe and all of our other YouTube collaborators, as well as just people I know in my day-to-day start to complain about when you get to this point. It obviously wasn't as egregious as I guess it gets to. We'll see if it hits me the same way it hits as a lot of other people, because even with that ridiculous sort of, action set piece to end Act 2, I still very much so enjoyed this movie overall. I thought, like, the writing and the depth of the characters, the plot, and the way it sort of serviced every aspect of the decisions that the characters made was just as strong as in 5. But then it just kind of takes away from itself with some of the more silly things. So it's tough because like I think they've really found these characters' voices, and we understand like why we watch these movies now, and the dynamics are so strong, and so we're just building on top of a foundation that's already really solid, and usually that leads to like good results. But they're obviously, as all franchises do, trying to keep it interesting and trying to keep longevity going at this point, right? Nodding to another movie towards the end of this one confidently as a great example. And I think with that sometimes comes for room for some unwelcomed additions. And so I'm starting to see some of those unwelcome additions, even though I really, really enjoyed this film.
Yeah, again, to quote Bill Simmons once again from the Rewatchables when they did Fast 5, Fast 5 might be in like the top 5 greatest movies ever made. Forget just action movies, just like greatest movies ever made. So obviously it was going to be tough to top this one. I guess just my whole thing with it, right, is when I watched this movie the first time, I had not seen the first 4 movies like consistently up to that point, right? I think I'd watched them in like bits and pieces, and it was after 5 and before 6 that I like caught up on all of them. So I was caught up on all of them by the time I got to 6. So it was kind of cool seeing like all the characters that I like hadn't known and hadn't grown up with, like kind of like intersect. You know, it was kind of like the meeting of the old and the new. But like I said, this movie is probably the first movie I ever saw in theaters that broke my brain, and it's understandably so, because again, if 5 is the ultimate apex, is in like the best that this franchise ever will be, which again, having seen all these movies now multiple times, I can safely say Fast 5 is the apex. This is the jumping of the shark moment, you know? Absolutely. Like the plot, as cool as it is, right, to see these guys kind of like on the right side of the law now, the plot almost gets a little bit too like James Bondy and kind of intricate for its own good, you know? I definitely think they kind of take the wrong lessons going forward, but man, this movie just did not have the same impact on me that it did. You know, I think I saw this movie like 3 times initially when it came out. I saw it once in theaters, and then like as soon as it came out on DVD, I watched it like instantly. Like I watched this movie all the time back in the day, but like just on the rewatch, man, did this not have the same effect on me as 5 did. I don't know if that's just because of just where we're at as far as how consistently we've been watching these movies, or if it's just the fact of, you know, obviously, you know, hindsight is 2020, and I'm watching this movie now as like a 23, almost 24-year-old as opposed to like a 15, 16-year-old when I first watched. You know, these things do change, especially given like the residual focus of these movies.
I think the demographic of this movie is certainly people in your age range when you stood up in the theaters and screamed and yelled and cheered, especially targeting it towards males. I feel like that's clearly the demographic. You know, you're thinking about getting your license, girls, the whole 9. That's kind of like the perfect movie for someone in that age. But I do think
I never even like considered myself to be in like that demographic. I like always went out of my way to be like, I hate that demographic.
Yeah, I understand that, but I think like that's the target audience and the target age group for this series, and so I think, you know, with all that being said, clearly it wasn't as good as 5, but it was still really damn enjoyable, and I think it's because the characters win you over so much in 5, and they don't mess with that formula in 6, so at least that's there, and it's a solid foundation, you know.
Okay, so real quick, before we get out of here, right, before we do star ratings and get out of here, right, I want to see, because we've still watched 6 of these movies right now, right? We got 2 left, because we're not going to do Hobbs and Shaw. I'm just letting the people know now. We're not going to do Hobbs and Shaw before we get to F9.
No, we are.
Not before F9.
But we're going to do it right after
We're going to do it
right after.
In
this series.
So, but real quick right now, I want you to, like, list off, like, right now, just off the top of your head, how you have the 6 movies ranked so far.
That's
off the top of your head. Off the top of your head. Go.
I'd go F1.
At number 1.
I would go F5.
Okay.
I would go Tokyo Drift. I would go F6. I would go F4 and F2.
Okay.
Yeah, that's how I would do it.
For me, I would probably go F5 easily. Tokyo Drift, the first one. This is the biggest difficulty. 2 is still my worst. Oh, man. This is a controversial opinion. I got 4 above this one. Only because 4
really,
on
that's
the
crazy to me.
Yeah. And it's crazy to say because, again, you asked me this question 2 years ago. 2 years ago, I would have said 6 beats 4 every time. But honestly, 4 had way more of an emotional impact on me. Maybe because it was just like, that was me watching it in release order as opposed to like the weird order that I watched it before. So like the impact of like seeing Brian and Dom not be together for 2 movies, and then having them come back together in the way they do, and then for the setup that does for 5, that has more of an impact on me than anything really in this movie, you know? Because everything that like kind of has an impact on me are like the stuff that like I'm remembering from when I saw it in theater, not necessarily from this watch. So yeah, that's where it's at right now for me. That's the rankings. We'll see how 7 and 8 rank when we get to them. But Chris, your star rating for Fast and Furious 6.
Yeah, man. I think I'm going to have to go with a 4 out of 5 still because, like I said, one small action set piece in the grand scope of this movie and it wasn't even terrible. Like, I still enjoyed my time with it. It's just, I feel that it's tough for me watching this in the age that I am because I've heard so much, even though I don't know what's going to happen. I've heard so much about how people feel about what happens, and clearly that taints my opinion. So separating myself from that and thinking about, hey, if I was in a theater watching this for the first time, I would have thought it was awesome. I probably would have had a similar reaction to you in regards to that insane moment between Michelle Rodriguez and Vin Diesel. And so I got to say, it was still just as fun as every other Fast and Furious movie I've given a 4 out of 5 to. So I gotta give it a 4 out of 5.
Got it. This is tricky. This is probably the most difficult star rating that I've done on this franchise because I initially gave Fast and Furious, the 4th one, a 3.5, but I'm doing that thing. I'm retroactively changing it to a 4, right? Because if I have obviously that ranked above 6, then it would make no sense. So I'm retroactively changing that to a 4. And this one, here's the problem, right? Obviously, it's not a 3.5, but I can't justify giving it a 4 either. So I'm going to do what I've never done before on this channel. I'm giving this movie 3.9 out of 5 stars. It's not a 3.5. Okay. It's not a 3.5 what I consider, but I can't justify giving it a 4. You know? I just can't.
I understand.
It's really, really
so
weird.
Much.
You know,
that's
what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I figure of all the people, you would understand that more than anybody else. You know, because like
I just add, if there was ever a point in time for you to play the 3.9 card, this is the time.
It would be now. Because it's so weird. Because like there are some awesome moments in this movie. There really friggin' are, but man, this is really when like the stupid moments start to rear their ugly head, and not in a fun way. So with that being said, people, 2 more stops left on the finish line before we hit F9. Obviously, then Hobbs and Shaw, and then the big old ranking series for all these movies afterwards. You guys are not going to want to miss this. It is all on the road to the finish line. This was Fast and Furious 6. Chris's first time watching it. My, like, 5th or 6th time watching it. I've watched all these movies way too many times. Like, way too many times. So let us know in the comments below your thoughts on this particular entry in the Fast and Furious movie. Let us know whether it is controversial for you guys as it is for us. Whatever your thoughts are, let us know in the comment section below. Be sure to also click the subscribe button, the like button, the bell next to the subscribe button. That way you guys get notified every single time we put up new content. Follow us on our social medias at Talkin TV Podcast on Facebook and Instagram. Chris, where can the good people find you?
Yeah, you guys can find me anywhere that matters, all over the internet at Christian Ivanko. Ivanko spelled Evanko. I make music, which I love to my dearest and fullest extent. It's available through the link in my bio. I really hope you guys check it out. And also I have another podcast called Talkin with Andrew and Chris. Talkin spelled the same way we spell it right here. And it's also available through the link in my bio. That's a show about life, music, and everything in between. And I hope you guys enjoy it just as much as you enjoy this podcast. But Dom, where can they find you before we get out of here?
I believe the most recent sarcastic Facebook post that I made was just today. There was a new poster scheduled with all the new release dates announced for Avatar 2 through 5, which has now been dated 2022 through 2028. And I'm like, controversial opinion. Y'all think George R.R. Martin's not making it to those last 2 books? I predicted James Cameron's not making it to Avatar 5. I'll think maybe 2, as far as that goes. But all I know is by the time that movie comes out, it'll have been 13 years since that last one. So, hey. I don't know as far as that goes, but you can find me making posts like that every day on Facebook and Instagram at Movie Nerd Reviews, all one word, as always, because once again, I am the movie nerd. There is no other. And as always, people, keep driving angry, keep getting, bring down those planes, drive those tanks, whatever. They need to do a remake of Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, but like as the Fast and Furious edition, just call it Planes, Tanks, and Fast Cars, something like that.
The Rock, yeah, Planes, Tanks, and The Rock.
Yeah, right? The funny thing is The Rock is already a movie by Michael Bay, and I have to explain to everybody, it's like, no, not The Rock, the movie The Rock. As two more stops
man.
before we get to F9, people. Next week
So
is
fuel up.
Furious 7, 12 seasons in a short film. And as always, remember, watch more fucking.